Hey guys, it's Tizzy time, and today I have a very special guest with me. I mean, she's one of the best authors in New York. I'm gonna put the stamp on it, and we're gonna sit there and we're gonna sit here. I'm like, sit there. We're gonna sit here and have a conversation about who she is. But before I go forward and try to big her up and tell all about what she has to say, I'm going to let my special co-host for today introduce herself. So go ahead, let them know all about you.
Well, short form is this. Hello, my name is Stacey Agdern. I live outside of New York City, not far from my favorite hockey team's practice facility, in a town very famously known for its literary history. You know about Headless Horseman, that's where I'm from. I am a romance writer. I've been a part of the New York romance community for a very long time. My first solo single title was published in October of 2020, but before that, I was very involved in a whole bunch of different collections and anthologies with authors, like fall stories. Um, writing a whole bunch of different things, and it's just been fantastic. My most recent book came out in December. It's called The Dreidel Disaster, and it, like all of my other books, are available anywhere books are sold. So I'm just very, very thrilled to be here and talk and just kind of enjoy the conversation that follows. Like Chantel's been doing some really cool stuff, and I'm just excited to be a part of
Thank you so much, Stacey, and I appreciate that. I mean, the dreidel disaster. Full transparency, I've been waiting on. Me and Stacey have been talking about this book being released for some time now. We also been talking about any marketing behind it, what it looks like to be an author, what it looks like to be published. And she has given me such an unfiltered view on what that looks like, but also a perspective into what it's like to get into the literary world. Tongue twister. But also going forward and making sure. Hold on one second.
Okay.
So we basically went forward and we discussed, the behind the scenes of being in the literary world, what it's like to be published, just an everyday in the life of an author. And it gave me such an unfiltered view, one, because, as a child, we all dreamed to be our favorite authors. We all dreamed to have a book published. I mean, everybody's talking about, oh, I wanted to be famous when I was younger. I wanted to sing. And I'm like, I just wanted to be an author. I wanted to be Eric Carle. I wanted to be Leo Leone. Like these are, those were my heroes growing up. Stephanie Meyer. These are people who I wanted to be, of course, published in a way of, as you're young, you think the book that is a cult classic is the book to be. But as you get older and really enjoy books, you see that indie books, those who are independent and not at the big houses like Penguin or Macmillan or whatever have you, or even Schuster, Street and Schuster. um you have that availability to really pivot into such a world. So I mean, I'm going back and forth. I'm talking so much. So just, Stacey, just, please share with the listeners what that looks like and ultimately what an everyday would look like for you and what jumped you into, pursuing the dreams of acting, but also pursuing the dreams of acting.
Actually,
Well,
okay,
I'm
I'm going to
saying
tell
this,
you.
the book is about to be a movie.
So, here's the thing. I was I've always wanted to write. I've always wanted to be an author. Like, I've always written, right? The summer between eighth and ninth grade, I went away to summer camp, and it was an arts camp. It wasn't like a music camp, like an Interlochen, and it wasn't a stage door manor fully devoted to theater. There were bits of everything there. And I spent that summer, I spent about 4 weeks of the summer because I went for only a 4 week session. And I was in plays. I did art, not well, because my drawing is about as good as my singing, and neither of them are functional at all. And I had a blast. It was so much fun. And then, as I said, this was the summer between eighth and ninth grade, and I am ancient. So my graduation present from eighth grade was a Commodore 64 computer at my very okay. It was like a 64C. It was brand new. It was gorgeous. I had it on my desk. It was like the prize of honor. And I was end of it was the end of the session. I had them all. before school started. And do you know what I did in that month? People talk about that summer where you make your choices about like creative things, what you want. And if I was going to act, if I thought acting was the thing that I wanted, that would have been the summer. But no, do you know what I did? I wrote a novel. I literally sat down when I came home. I have never been so organized in my entire life with writing, ever. Like, every day I would sit down for hours and write my story on my computer. Like what I thought, being an actual writer years later would be like. Literally, for a month, I had my paper. I had this idea of how long this book was going to be. And I had in pen on a column of this paper, my word goal. And I would literally subtract every day how many words I would add to right. And it was insane. And as I said, between 8th and 9th grade is when this happened. So like I had written previously, but that was the summer I was like, okay, I'm going to be writing. That's but in the back of my head, like writing was not a primary job. Like as a kid at that time in my life, like I had to do something else. And the something else varied, but I ended up, going to university, studying political science and history, and then going to graduate school. And when I was studying for my graduate exams, like instead, like my perfect way to take a break was I would switch from one document to the other, from one outline to the fictional story that I was writing at the same time. It was the perfect break for my brain. I did not pass the exam that separated myself from um, from the profession that I was going to graduate school for. So I decided that what I was going to do was I was actually going to take a year and give myself time to get published. My parents sort of agreed with it because I had to actually do something with my time because I had student loans from the graduate school to pay back. And so I ended up working at a bookstore. I ended up working for 10 years at this bookstore while attempting to write. Yeah, like, and the thing is, it was wonderful. Like, I had I wrote reviews for a whole bunch of publications that no longer exist. Anything like tons of different romance review publications, anywhere from like the HCA section of USA Today to Publishers Weekly's WW Ladies with Women named Barbara Bay. I wrote for Romantic Times magazine, which is yet another thing that but all of these places, each of the more traditional publishers, each had at the time a blog, and I would write, here's Heartbreakers Romance at Random. Here's Heartbreakers was associated with St. Martin's Press. So I wrote a ton of articles, long form and short form for them. I even wrote a hockey preview for them. It was wild and insane and wonderful. And I realize I'm telling you my writer's journey to get to this point, which I'm not sure if that's
All of it. I love the backstory on how you enunciated like hey, like writing was not always something I jumped into, but when I jumped into it, I knew it was for me. And so much so that it aligned me in so many other areas of my life. I mean, like how many people say I wanted to be an author from this age and I was able to work in a bookstore and I really got to see the behind, like you get what I'm saying? Like me, full transparency, I work in the entertainment field. I probably went to see ABC 7 Studios one time. Never worked in my school's, radio center. I never worked in the media center, but it's just so amazing to hear how you're like, no, like I want this and this is my passion and it's going to align in my life. I think that's amazing. So please share, please.
no, it was because it's like it was the thing is like when I worked in the bookstore, I learned so much. Like I can't even tell you how much I learned. I was given a lot of space to learn all of that because basically I came in, the political science, the graduate degree, completely different from most of the other people who worked there because anybody who had studied graduate school, anything, were English majors. So like they had a very particular idea of what literature was and who wrote it and how they wrote it. I was like, no. I was like, if I would like to read a dictionary, I'm going to read a Webster's kind of thing. Like, I want story. I want characters. I want emotion. I don't want to be separated from emotion, you know, when I'm reading. And I was the genre girl. I was the genre snob. I was reading romance and thrillers and science fiction. And I was the one who was like, devouring all the things and giving the recommendations to people who had finished Twilight and didn't know what else to read. You know, books like I was in the bookstore during the time that both Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey became publishing phenomenons, and I was the one right at the end of both going, and now you want this. I actually wrote an essay for one of my earlier published pieces was an essay with Smart Pop Books and a collection called 50 Writers and 50 Shades of Grey. And that detailed books that I would give to people who had finished 50 Shades of Grey and were completely unsure as to what to do with their reading time. Because so many people, like, there were a lot of people who read exclusively literary fiction and all of a sudden not sure what to do with their lives, in terms of like reading, like the books that they were reading weren't satisfying, literally, like on multiple levels to them anymore. So lucky for me, I was able to point them to books that brought them into a genre and a kind of a style of writing that was much more satisfying to them. One of my favorite stories from that period of time. There is a writer by the name of Megan Hart who I adore and have always adored pieces. And at the time, books that she had published with Harlequin's erotic romance line were being recovered and republished, which was great because I was like, this is fantastic. This is perfect. This is wonderful. And it was very easy for me to go, okay, these are the aspects of 50 Shades of Grey that you like. Here is this beautiful book by this author that you'll like because it sort of captures this aspect of this book. And it was amazing that people were falling in love with her stories. And and then not very long after that, like there were other booksellers who were doing the same thing across the country. And right around that time, not very long after that, she hit the New York Times bestseller list for the first time. So like it was this, as a bookseller, this sense of pride that like these authors who had been working on multiple levels, through like 20 different publishers, for lack of a better explanation, like were getting the recognition why that they deserved it. So I was thrilled with that. So that's what that essay was about. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous to see that. But that was the kind of thing that happened when I was a bookseller. I remember like shelving a whole bunch of titles by this one particular author and then going to a conference of like librarians, like very particular, like not just like I forget exactly, but then and I saw this woman and I was like, oh, because I had just shelved 5 of her books. Her name is Sandra Kitt. Yeah, her name was Sandra Kitt, and I fangirled the heck out. And she was like looking at me like, "What are you?" And I was like, "Oh!" And ever since that point, like she's like I've seen her like it's the joy of like seeing these like trailblazing brilliant authors have like beautiful success. Like I think she just recently signed like a brand new deal after how many years with Swords Books. Like this is like yeah, like joy. And I have some amazing news that I will share whenever you want me to share it. That hopefully will not have me completely fangirling over everything and everybody. But anyway, but like that's the thing. Like when I was a bookseller, like I got to meet people, I saw things, like I met people, and I was a bookseller and an aspiring writer at the same time. So like as I said, I was part of at that time, the RWA NYC romance chapter was fantastic. This was before 2019. and things went to Hades, we'll say. I don't know what kind of language is permitted on this, so I will stick with my allusions to Greek
Oh,
mythology.
you're totally fine. We are both grown here, first and foremost, so any language is permitted. But I love how you said like we're in Hades because
Yeah,
very much so. That's the
it
best
was. It
description,
was.
and I'm gonna steal that as well. So I just want you to know in advance. I'm stealing that to go
Oh,
forward and
absolutely.
describe.
It was like, oh my gosh. But
But I love that. I think first and foremost, congratulations because that's amazing. I mean, like
yeah,
to be able to not only meet your heroes, but even going forward and meet who you indulge with. Like, I mean, man, it's for one, it's an honor, of course, obviously, but two, just it's like a full circle moment for us as industry leaders. I think that's amazing, especially in the literary world. I think that is the moment for authors where it's like, not I made it because that would be bad terminology, but like, wow, I'm really in it. I'm living in it. This is my job. This is my passion. I'm really doing this. And I really love how you express that. I also love how you said, like, hey, I was just throwing recommendations, excuse me, back and forth to not only readers, but indulgers like myself. Like, I was able to go forward, read, and really compartmentalize what's going on in Twilight. Let's just use that as an example. So much so that it allowed me to delve into so many other areas, not only within this genre, but within so many authors and their repertoire, and just be able to say, hey, and I think that's amazing. One thing about me, I love a good book recommendation. Like, music and books are like, those are my love language. Like, if you come to me and you're like, Chantel, I want you to listen to this song. Tizzy, I want you to read this book. You've got me. Like, more than anything. Or Tiz, watch this show. Like, I feel like that's my love language, just being recommended and
yeah.
being told, like, unpack, really indulge into your creativity. So I love how you included that. And I love that you were able to, like, I'm fangirling for you because that's amazing. Like, come on.
It's it's like, you know, you, let me just like words. I have them.
So just super conversational, please. My listeners love it. Like, I feel like when I sound like, "Hello, this is News 7," they're like, we're not listening to that one." But when we sound like we're on FaceTime, where we're like in the same room, just having a chat, that's what I love about my platform. You're just able to be just so open. So please don't apologize. Listen, if you want to say "damn" real quick, like "damn," I don't even know what I'm saying. You're more than welcome.
It's like every once in a while, like my brain goes in 7 directions, and I have to figure out
Oh,
which one of
so
these to
you
go
have it
with.
too.
Yeah. Because like we're talking and it inspires my inspires what I want, like you're saying things and then it inspires what I want to talk about and then it kind of goes back and forth, which is the best thing ever.
I
But
love it too.
every once in a while, like you have the 7 directions, you're like, and then words kind of
Literally,
say,
mine will be it's between 7 and 14. On a good day, it's two.
uh-huh.
Like on a good day, it's like, do you want to sleep or do you want to stay up and work? That was today. So I decided to stay up and work. I've been up since like 6. I know we had our podcast, but by the time I got home, it was like 10. I'm like, could I get a quick nap in? I'm like, that's foolish because we're not going to sleep on Stacey one. But two, you just have to be back up at 3 o'clock to grocery shop. What's the point?
Grocery
It's our
time,
real life to live.
chaos is going on around me, and I'm like, I have to do this now. So like,
It reminds me of the dog meme, and he's like literally sitting in the fire, and he's like, "This is fine." And he has his coffee cup, and the whole room is engulfed in flames. This is fine. Adulthood, in a nutshell.
yes. Oh my god. Like so like and those early books I read was like as I said for RWA and I see was fantastic. I met so many different writers and I got to know so many different writers who like are doing amazing things these days and it's kind of awesome to watch them all succeed and like like we're all kind of thriving and succeeding and it's kind of it's just awesome. Like Am Jackson, I just read Real Men Knit. Oh my god, that book's um,
I
it's
heard about that.
so
I
good.
want to
Her books are
read.
like she's got a whole bunch of them. Like she's one of those authors who like I have known for years
I love
through
that.
RWA and NYC and like 4 years in the various incarnations of the organization with Roots, and like she has been striving and thriving for years, and like like when she got her first series, like, and she self-published bounce, like she's all over the place, and strong, and like Real Man Knit is just beautiful. It's a great story about family and about knitting and about ah love, and it's and Harlem, and it's just beautiful.
I love that. And not to cut you off, I feel like knitting, crochet, all of those areas where we're getting back to even like puzzle making. I
Yeah,
love seeing that not only just within the community, especially with those are marginalized groups, but just
yeah,
even seeing New Yorkers, millennials, people my age group just jumping into trends. I have a cousin, she has a crochet business and she makes pants. She does shirts, hats, and it's just
oh,
beautiful to see because it's like reinvented. You don't have to be granny crocheting a blanket. You can be, a 21-year-old deciding to make a bag or a hat. And I just love how we're repurposing things
it's
nowadays. And
it's
it's
finding
important.
space. Yeah, it's finding space to be creative in different ways, and it's kind of awesome. And like, you know, like filling that space. It's just really really cool.
I love
What?
it. I'm definitely going to tune in to Men Who Knit because I want
Yeah,
to.
it
I've
is.
heard about it one, but I definitely was like, I need to engage and indulge in some good books. Like, I need a bookstore date, Stacey, like ASAP.
Yes,
Like, I was telling my
absolutely.
cousin, we were supposed to go to Barnes and Noble, but I'm also trying to shop a lot more locally.
Yep.
So I'm like, let me find because I've been living in the area I'm in now for a little more than a year, but I still have to find the local book area or the local bookstore where I can find not only some books I can, I know they donate a lot of books or they, add to their library, but just going forward and getting some good reads. Like a library is a need of mine.
It's
When I
chill.
decide to build I need it
Yeah,
floor to floor,
I mean,
floor to
like
ceiling, ceiling to floor.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's wild because like in the last 5 years, we'll say, like by me, all of a sudden we're getting like a ton of different stores, and like, I mean, yes, there's Barnes and Noble still, and they're wonderful. But like, there's Transcend and Sleepy Hollow books, Transcend in my hometown,
Right. I've heard of
Sleepy
Sleepy
Hollow
Hollow
in
books. Yeah.
Town next door,
Mhm.
Pages and Petals further up in Wappingers Falls, and then on Long Island, Roaming Romance is wonderful, and then you've got another store that opened, I can't remember, and then there's this bookstore in Bedford that just opened. There's Village Books in Pleasantville, Hudson Valley Books for Humanity in Ossining. Like, there's an independent bookstore community out here that's just beautiful, and I love seeing that happen, like across, like up and down the Hudson Valley, which is kind of amazing.
That's
And
amazing too. I love to hear
what's
that, especially in New York.
yes,
New York girl,
and
like
then
of course New York has the notion of big city, you can do anything,
yeah,
entertainment, the whole nine. But I don't think people realize how heavy the book community is in New York.
yeah,
Like the literature community. Like, I mean,
it's
man,
cool. Like,
I hate to use Joe as an example from you, but I feel like that is like the best notion of what like being very in tune with literature is like. Not him, but his like notion of working at the bookstore,
yeah,
caring for the books, being very compassionate and intimate with them, making sure the spines look brand as, new as day. And I just feel like there's so many people in New York who are very heavy on that,
I mean,
There's so many bookstores.
there's like tons of them, and then in this like, and then I lost my mind when the Rapadas opened in
See, we have
Brooklyn.
to link up. I have to come meet with you, and we need to just go to all the bookstores, not
Oh
only
my
in
god,
Hudson
yes,
Valley,
yes,
but
yes,
you know,
yes, absolutely. And then
okay.
there's this store, I want to say that I've been like trying to figure out how to plan to get to for a while called, I think it's called Fountain Books. It's like, it's
It's in the
there's
city.
Fountain Books in Virginia, but it's this one is like like kind of like the Harlem Inwood border, for lack of a better, like it's up there, and I'm trying to remember, like, and it's like not far from the Marble Hall train stop, like it's ah. anyway, I gotta figure out how to get there because it's like not exactly there, but it's like around
Near.
exactly. You have
This
to like
city's so
finagle.
confusing.
You have to like finagle like the train in some ways to try to.
They gave us a new map though. I don't know if you've seen
I
it. It's
saw
bold and
that.
nice.
That was interesting.
Now, this is the best question. I know it's a little left field, but I have to ask you as an
Yeah.
expert in literary, what do you think of that map? Because me personally, I'm like, you just bolded it. You didn't do anything different. You just made it
Yeah,
bigger and
it's like
bolder.
it's interesting because it looks like they're creating space for things without those things being there.
Thank you. Because I'm like, am I like, did we just totally disregard? Because like, I know we didn't just cut off train lines. We didn't. If anything, we added more from what the map had. So I'm just confused on how you're aligning all of these trains to the city. And majority of these trains, yes, they go to the city. But the bold trains that you have are not the only trains that go to the city. So it's like 4 bold lines.
That's like a huge space, like in between Brooklyn and Queens. I was like, what is this? What is this nonsense? I'm so
It's like we have
like,
trains that go from Brooklyn to Queens.
are you actually going to go ahead and put something there? Is that the whole point of this?
It's
Like,
bananas.
there have been rumors, like, there have been rumors recently about it, but like, are they actually going to do it? Is that why they're doing this? So they could be like, oh, look at this mess. Oh, look at this empty space that we need to put a train line in.
I just want New York to be serious. Just 1 year. We just deserve 1 year of seriousness because I just feel like we're super unserious. And it's getting bad because now the discourse on TikTok is New Yorkers are a joke. And we need to just have one serious year so people can realize we're not a joke.
Like, as a Westchester girl, like, so I went to grad school in Albany.
Okay. Did you go to Albany or a school in the area? Was it
was associated with Union University.
Was it Sage College?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I went to Albany Law School.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we got to unpack on that too because I was just saying I may start my law school lore, but we'll get into that another.
But
I
like,
love that. Stacey, you're so multifaceted. Ooh.
My brain is all over the place. Okay, but yeah, like, so I went, as I said, I went to grad school in Albany, and like, I'm from Westchester. Like, I'm not, and then so the perennial, and you can see where I'm probably going with this.
Yes.
Where like the perennial discourse of what's upstate and what's not upstate drives me bananas. I was like, you people, like, you figure it out. Like, leave me out of it. Like,
Stacey, I live in the city and the debate, okay, so very similar to you. I grew up in Brooklyn, like born and raised Coney Island.
Yeah.
I moved to Staten Island very young. And the debate for years is Staten Island a part of the 5 boroughs? Obviously it is. Geographically, sure. But culturally and relevantly, no, we are not. So my debate for the past couple of years, especially being in grade school, being an adult now, having ties to Staten Island, the question has been for years, who are you? Why do you think you can speak? Your borough doesn't matter. So listen, at least you're in the conversation of what's up. At least you're a considered New York. Staten Island, they've been trying to throw us to Jersey for years. Like, so
it's wild because like with Westchester, it's like where, whoever you're talking to depends on what they consider upstate. Like,
literally, I feel like upstate starts in like I forgot what area my friend lives in, but she took the Metro North, and the Metro North was like at 2 hours. It was, I forgot the name. I think it's near Warwick, New Jersey, but it's on the other side. I think
okay.
It's something with a J, I believe. Like Johnsonstown or Johnsonsville, something like that. But I'm like, yes, that's upstate. But Westchester, what's the other one where DMX is from? Yonkers.
Yeah, Yonkers. Yonkers is on my train line. It's like it's a little. I'm a little bit north of Yonkers.
Yeah, like I just feel like even like Iona and all of that. Like, yes, okay,
like
it's not upstate. Yeah, it's not upstate. Like I don't know who voted on that.
Because there's like a fundamental difference in a lot of ways
A
between
lot.
upstate
A lot.
and Westchester.
A
Like
lot.
Westchester, yes, Westchester clearly is not the city. Clearly, like I'm not going to debate that in any way, shape, or form because obviously, like my family's from the Bronx. It's two different sides of the Bronx. So
Of
like,
course.
yeah, and my brother's in Brooklyn. So like, again, like I know the difference.
She's like, I'm a city girl. Don't be confused.
I am no city girl. I realize this. I am happy. I am city only. Like honestly, that's one of the reasons. Like it's actually kind of interesting. We're going backwards into this, but like one of the reasons I started to write the books that I did was because way too many people have this preconceived notion that city is evil, and it drives me freaking bananas.
It's every city. It doesn't even matter. Just city in general is evil to people. It's like every city is not Batman. I think people think about Gotham and New York, and it's like, get off TikTok. Get off TikTok. People all the time are like, oh my God, you have rats. And it's like, again, and this is why I'm happy you're on here, Stacey, because you just listed an area in New York, Westchester. If you go to Westchester, they have some of the nicest homes, some of the nicest restaurants, some of the beautifulest environment and wildlife. And it's just like everybody thinks New York and automatically Manhattan. You guys don't have trees. It's buildings.
Like what? It's not city and small town and suburbia are not fundamentally divided as people think it is.
Right.
And so that like fundamentally, like when you talk about one of my like origin stories as a writer and like the kinds of stories that I ended up telling, that's like you know, you look at my first book, Miracles and Menorahs, and literally like they spend half the time in the fake suburban town that I created and half the time in the city because that's how it goes. Like
they're aligned. I mean, I don't know if it's like a New York thing, and sorry to cut you, but I don't know if it's a New York thing, but like we interact with our city. Even when we're not engaging with our city's still a big part. Like I said, I live in Staten Island. Staten Island is an hour and 20 minutes on a good day from Manhattan. However, if I'm not working in the city or if I'm not in the city on a weekend enjoying my time, I'm not in the city, but you still see how I have a proximity to Manhattan. A lot of the times, if I even want to go forward, the ferry, if I want to go forward and even get to Brooklyn, I have to go to Manhattan, you know? So when I hear people who may be from out of town, people who are from really upstate New York, like Oswego and Syracuse and Buffalo and Plattsburgh, talk on the city, it's like, yes, we may not be as close. It may still take 2 hours to get from one point of New York to the other in the five boroughs, but we have a proximity to our city. Like, you get what I'm saying? So it's just so funny to hear sometime with people who live in other states have a proximity to their city, but it's like a distant thought. Like when I hear people talk about, Virginia, and they're like, oh, I live in Richmond. You don't think of Richmond as a city. You think of it as, so.
no, totally. And like the thing is, like, there's that difference here. Like, I worked in the bookstore I worked in was in Grand Central. So, like, needless to say, like, Grand Central is a friggin' melting pot of like everybody. And like, one of the things about New York, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, like, when you go to Manhattan, generally speaking, you will find every single person you do not want to see ever.
I promise you. I promise you. Every food cuisine you don't want to see as well. Like New York is one of those areas, and I hate to say it, no shade to New York City. We call it the city because we're in New York in general, but I hate Manhattan. If I don't have to go to Manhattan, I don't want to go. And there's a lot of people who live in New York City who agree with that. Like, you understand what I'm saying? A lot of people will sit there and be like, I'd rather go to Brooklyn for lunch, or I'd rather go to Westchester, go outside the city and enjoy that rural and that, residential suburban area for the day. I mean, I know so many people who get away and go to Westchester for the weekend, have a home in Westchester, a little apartment in a city per se, and they'll just come during the week for work, but they're at peace during the weekends. And I love one that we have that option as New Yorkers, because anywhere else it's unheard of. Like, whoa, you're a dual resident in your state. Like, God bless the Metro North is so accurate. Shout out to the New York, the Department of Transportation in New York.
it's accessible. Like one of the things that I kind of rejoiced about this past year, 2 years ago, whenever it happened, I don't quite remember because time is weird. But they recently connected Long Island Railroad with Metro North.
Yes.
Um, and like I have I have a close friend in Mineola. And like
Oh,
it's so
my
easy.
teachers used to
Turn
live in
down to Grand
Michigan.
Central and then Grand Central, it's like literally an hour. Like I was able to do a book signing all the way out on the tip of Long Island with Roman Romance like last year, and it was easy as heck because I would go to again. I didn't have to take 2 trains and 2 subways to get there. Just
And
two
see,
trains
that's the beauty of New York. I love that you said that because a lot of the times people just hear Long Island's one of those other areas where people are like, "Oh, you're too far. I'm not even coming. Please don't even call me. Don't even look my way." Like, and it's crazy because growing up, Long Island, my aunt lived in Long Island. I had a lot of friends who lived in Long Island. My pastor at the time was a Long Island resident. So it's like Long Island was like not a second home, a third home to me. So just to hear they're making those strides in transportation, I can only imagine what that'll look like in 10 years. We might be able to go through the whole New York with the 15 to 45 minutes.
Side note, this is probably the perfect time to talk about the thing.
Yes, okay, perfect. So yes. All right, we are
So
coming up on our time. I just want to, before you introduce or give news, I want to introduce Stacey's announcement. I don't know what it is, so I'm excited too. The exclusives for me too. But make sure you also plug yourself on. People can find you so if they want to know more information about this news. And I'm
so
excited. Okay, go.
so we are. This was officially announced on the particular organization's webpage about an hour ago. Um, so uh, Theodore's Books on Long Island for the last year had a book festival called the Gold Coast Book Fair. There were tons of amazing authors that were there. I thought it was with Allie Rosen, for example, who I Love the Pieces, was there last year. Um, Jeannie Moon was there last year. This year, so I signed up and I forgot about it. And about 3 weeks ago, I got the email saying, "Congratulations, you are accepted as a featured author in romance at the Gold Coast Book Festival." Um, their details are going to be on their website, goldcoastbookfair.com. Um, it's going to be May 14th, 15th. It's that weekend. But the thing that kind of ties in with earlier conversations is that the author that I signed with Roaming Romance, KJ Mishike, will be there as well. Also, Tessa Bailey is also going to be there, which is really cool. But the thing that like I am absolutely beside myself about, whew, we talk about founding trailblazing authors, especially when we talk about Black romance. And we talk about the Grand Dame, Beverly Jenkins, we talk about Brenda Jackson, we talk about Sandra Kitt, but Rochelle Ehlers is another one of those names that like goes on that list. And let me tell you, if I can actually speak while I am on a romance panel with Rochelle Ehlers, it will be a miracle because she is going to be there too. And I am like beside myself on so many levels that I'm just so deliriously excited. Like, you know, like the fact that she and I are both going to be on the same panel. Like,
First and foremost, congratulations.
thank you, thank you.
Congratulations. I'm going to clap that up every time. That's amazing. Congratulations,
Thank
Stacey. I love that. And two, for you to be on a panel with one of your faves, I
Oh
mean,
my god!
how are you not like,
Yeah, no, I'm already like I have already said that if I'm able to speak, it will be wonderful.
oh my
So
gosh, I can already see it.
in advance of the book that they're going to be promoting is this one, which is the dating contract, which
Nice.
which is the second book in my most recent series. Tornado Disaster is book 3. This is book 2. It came out last year from Thule Publishing, which is a great story in itself. I could explain the whole founding history of Thule, which is why I went with them in the first place. But anyway, as I said, I was a bookseller, so I followed all of this stuff. So when it came time for me to kind of make choices and things about what I wanted to do when it comes to publishing, I had all of the mental facts.
Amazing. Congratulations. I'm sorry. I'm just going to keep congratulating you because that's what I love to
I
hear.
am so, like, believe me,
That is major.
I pinched myself. Like, you know, and it's great because when I think about the kind of books that I write, I go back to my second book, which is History of Us. I wrote that from like made up July of 2020. It came out 6 months after Miracles and Morals, and you can kind of like understand that, like, I wrote that book, you know, here, in my house in Westchester without being able to leave. And the reason that I was able to write that book at that time, set on Long Island, set in a fictional town that's half Westchester, half Long Island, because I couldn't really go very far, was because of Long Island romance writers and people I met there, like Janine and Jennifer Grayson, both of whom, and my friend Kim Rosha, Book Obsessed Chicks, like both of these 3 people, like the time that I spent with them and the rest of like the Book Obsessed Chicks and the Long Island romance writers, I could never have been able to like write that book but for them. And like they say that like you have your entire lifetime to write your first book and only 6 months to write your second.
I've heard that. But I've heard that because the demand is so high for, especially after a good read. I mean, after a good read, a good show, anything, I'm like, all right, what's next? What is something very similar to you? What aligns with something that is like this that I would like to, like what you used to do at the bookstore, just making sure you reference them another good book. So to hear that, that's amazing. Like that's what we need.
It's like, if you are signed with a publisher, whether it's a big 5 or a small press, bottom line is there's going to be deadlines. The first book doesn't have that deadline. The second book will all of a sudden have a deadline, and you will learn that you have to,
Man.
And you're right.
Now the pressure's too great.
Exactly. Pressure's gonna happen, but you have to learn, right? If that's the path that you're going to take. And what I have discovered about myself is I work so much better under an external deadline. A deadline that
so deadlines help you.
Right.
Okay.
I know there are 2 people who are like when it comes to indie authors who are like basically a juggernaut. There are 2 people who I think of. One of them is Stacey Agdern. Her traditional debut just came out fairly recently, and I'm going to say in November. And Zoe York. They are both absolutely brilliant at the business and writing when it comes to those things, when it comes to indie publishing. I am a tiny little hybrid. I have discovered that I'm much better self-publishing when I'm doing so with other people. So, like, if there is a collection for a good cause, if there's if there's an anthology, what was that book? This one. Really cool hockey series that I am indie publishing with Isabel Kelly and the writing team of Kenzie McLear. We are actually working on a new one right now.
That's amazing. Are you happy about what happened yesterday, or how are we feeling? I heard the Rangers won something. Was it the Stanley Cup? I don't think so. Was it?
So the Rangers have been wild. Like, this season has been an absolute and utter disaster, like in so many levels.
I agree with that because last year I worked at an insurance company and they would get tickets. They have a suite in Madison Square and everybody wanted Rangers tickets like no tomorrow. And then this season, I don't know what's been going on because I haven't heard much about Rangers games anymore. So I'm like, oh.
It's been messy. It's been messy. Like there was like a commercial a couple years ago, like hockey isn't a soap opera, blah blah blah, and like, but the thing is, it is. Like every sport is going to have drama. Like if you,
Oh, of course.
everything is going to have drama. Like if you have a group of people, there's going to be personalities. There's going to be drama no matter. Thankfully, it's not as bad as the year where the we won't get into that, but like, yeah. And I can't believe that schmuck played for the Islanders. But anyway, well, so many words about that. So many words about that.
Man, I'm gonna leave the hockey alone because that's the year I actually tuned in, and I was like, this is why I will not get attached to another sport because as soon as, but that's a whole nother topic. We can really.
Yes. Oh, so you know what happened? Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yep.
Just like New York, why do you just always, when I try to root for you guys, you just always fail me? And this is why sometimes I'm just like, can't be. I am a Rangers fan though. Hockey, when it comes to New York, I will always be a New York Rangers fan. I am a big Wayne Gretzky fan as well. But when it comes to, and plus, why would I want to be a New Jersey Devil fan? Please be for real.
No,
Get real.
It's wild. Like for me, like the Islanders are okay. You know, like I have.
Let them get some skin. Let them get some skin, and then we could talk. Like, be like, let's talk about it. Who's the Islanders' Wayne Gretzky? When you find out who that man is, then you come talk to me.
I think about our goaltender. I think about the Rangers goaltender and his bestie. I want his bestie to succeed. You know, I want because that'll make.
Is Lindquist still a goalie? Yes, right.
Who?
Lindquist? Yes. Lindquist? No, he left.
Hank had to retire. There was a documentary about it like a couple of years ago. Like,
how long ago did he retire?
He had heart issues. He went through.
I remember that, but I didn't know he officially. I know he was. It was in talks.
His number is in the Raptors.
Oh my god! He retired his jersey with the Raptors. Don't get me mad, Stacey. Is it retired?
His jersey got retired. No one's ever going to wear number 30 again.
But was it for the Rangers too, or was it just the Raptors? Oh, it was both teams.
So he got bought out by the Rangers.
I remember that.
Okay. And then he went to the Capitals, and that's where his heart issues started.
I totally forgot about that lore.
Like in interviews and conversations, that he wasn't meant to play for another team.
God will show you. Yeah. When something's not broken, when something's not, what is it? The terminology?
Yeah, when something's not broken,
don't fix it. Yeah, and it's like you were doing, like the Giants could have gave you anything. You were our golden goose. You get what I'm saying? So I was just confused when he decided to go. But in the same breath, I guess I get it. I'm not really too big on players behind the scenes off the ice, but it's just like, we were going to spoil you. So, and we did spoil you. So I'm just confused on the Capitals.
So basically, because of his health, like there were sort of health issues happening towards the end, and like the baby rookie behind him, like kind of what happened with him and Kevin Weeks, right? Like it kind of repeated.
That's so self-explanatory.
Yeah. And like the thing is, like they wanted him to have a chance to do what he wanted. So that's why they bought him out, and then he talked about the Capitals because he wanted to play with Alex Ovechkin, who I have words, but and because he was like, I want to do it, and like he was a couple of people that he was friends with were on the Capitals, and so that's kind of like what he did. Like if he couldn't play for the Rangers, that's where he wanted to go, and so the Capitals made it happen. And then that's really when the issues started. Because they were like, yeah.
I mean, that's the other red, white, and blue. We don't claim them. But that's tea for another day.
Yes.
We're the real red, white, and blue, but that's tea for another day. It's so funny that we brought up hockey. I just feel like even New York sports teams, I feel like that's the best kind of like comparison to what it is to be in a literary world within storytelling. Because I feel like if you can be a Knicks fan consistently. Hold them down. You can write a book.
Yeah.
You can be a storyteller. Because man, if you're a Yankees fan, even better. A Mets fan, even better. Me, a Mets fan.
My family. So I'm a baseball fan as to how it goes. If that makes sense. My
Yes,
family is
our
like
Mets fans.
multiple generations of Yankees fans.
I love that. See, that's like my family. So on my dad's side, like a lot of the men in my family are Yankees fans.
Yep.
My brother is only one of the ones who is a Mets fan. I'm also a Mets fan. And I feel like we're Mets fans because our parents used to take us to games all the time. Like, I mean, I met David Wright. At the time, I met the guy who was here for a short stay. I forgot his name, but Matt Harvey. We met Matt Harvey as well. And, great team. I've always loved the organization. My mom would buy a season ticket. So we met not only the front office staff, but the back office staff. Super sweet. But being a Mets fan is work. There's been times where we've been loud and happy, and man, we might get a New York World Series. But when you're a New York fan, you never have your hopes up too high. And I've learned that as a fan. Never have your hopes up too high unless you're a Bills fan. And still then, I mean, what are we doing? The Giants suck. The Jets suck. The Yankees, thank God we have the Yankees. Thank God we have the Rangers. But everything else, where are we going? Football, we suck. But this is now, as of now, and it's like even like I don't know who put juju on New York sports teams, but somebody needs to apologize.
There were conversations about certain events that happened in Manhattan comparatively recently. And someone pointed out that after a particular event that happened in Manhattan at a particular sports venue, the things that occurred sports-wise were not the best.
Well, we need to get some sage for MSG.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, it's so funny because very big fan of Madison Square Garden too. My mom always took us to Knicks games, and I've never liked the Knicks, so it was just a time to go and go see a basketball game. Usually cheered for the other team. That's just me in general. But now, as I'm older, we go into suites, so we get the whole access, the food, everything, the whole nine. I went the past maybe month during MLK Day when the Knicks played the Hawks, and it was just a different feel. It didn't feel like it felt different. It felt a lot tighter. It felt the food wasn't hitting for what it used to hit. I mean, Madison Square Gardens has the best oatmeal cookies. I will die on that hill. They didn't even have the cookies this time, Stacey. I was like, what are we doing here? What's going on?
Let's just sage that garden. Someone needs to sage that garden.
That's
like something
no way
to get rid of whatever the heck is like left from that particular event.
It's just lingering, and it's like even the crowd seemed dead. They didn't seem like they wanted to cheer for the Knicks. The Knicks wound up winning, but it was just like, okay, you won. And it's like, what's going on here? But I totally agree. MSG needs sage ASAP. I will also recommend some disinfectant, like what does he call it? The ivertermin, the iversatermin, whatever he said to use when it was time for
oh god
to go away. Maybe that's what MSG needs. A little dewormer.
Yes, some kind of like. It needs a vaccination, we'll say. Like it desperately needs
it's like the what is it called? The HPV shot where you get one, 2 years later you need another one. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So I do want to ask you, Stacey, before we wrap up, first and foremost, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I had such a good time. And secondly, you have to come back. We definitely once we go forward, I would love to even do maybe like a live setting where we invite some guests and we do a sample reading of your new book. I think that would be so amazing. We could definitely discuss that, but I love that. I always love to bring my podcast guests back for any news, but also anything new and noteworthy that you love to speak, especially when I love speaking with you. So we definitely have to have you back. But this time I want to ask where people can find you, where they can find your, your literature or any of your literary works and anything you want to let the audience know.
So much fun. This has been a joy, a blast, and all of the amazing. Anybody, if they want to, can find me at staceyagdern.com. S. Agdern on Threads, Instagram, and TikTok. Stacey A. Agdern on Facebook. Or NY Stacey on the social media app that I should get rid of, but can't get rid of despite all of everything else. And you will be able to find me at the Gold Coast Book Festival this coming May. More details will be available when I have them. But look for information on their website. Um, my books can be found at bookshop.org, tumi.com, or Phoenix Blue Publishing, which publishes the book I wrote, book that got compiled of stories during a time where I was very upset about things. Um, and my next book will be another member of the Empire's hockey family, and the Kosher Conundrum is supposedly coming out in January 2026, which is the last of my last four standing books from the publisher.
That's amazing. And you guys better go check out Stacey's work. I mean, I love just the passion she has, not only behind her work, but just being able to be in her industry. I mean, you can tell she's someone who really loves what she do. And I love to see people on this platform who are very passionate about their work, but also love what they do. It doesn't seem like work. It's just overdrawn passion that they implement every day into the stuff they love to do. I'm wishing you nothing but success. Stacey, I pray. Well, we already know we're gonna be on New York Times bestseller. We already know that. I don't have to wish that. We know that. But I'm really excited to continue to see you grow. I can't wait to purchase the book myself. I'm next week. I'm going to the bookstore. I'm obviously going to be ordering yours online, but I really want to start engaging back in bookstores. Really having a moment where I can sit at a cafe and just open a good book. And thank you for just being the person to ultimately do that with your work. Allow us as consumers and lovers of books, literally literary fans, just going forward and being able to delve back into something they were passionate about. Like, I mean, you kind of opened up that childhood lore all over again where I'm hiding under the blanket reading books. And, I mean, like, you brought it back. So I'm really excited to delve into your novels and especially the series. I have been looking for something new and noteworthy to dive into. So you just gave me definitely 3 books to go forward and just be like, all right, time to jump in. So I'm really excited about that. Like Stacey said, if you guys want more information about the books, where to find them, she linked them here, and I'll link them as well in the bio. But send Stacey a message, just give another creative some creative advice. Tell her you love her books, you love the covers. I mean, she just previewed one and I loved it, the Hope collection. I really love the colors within the cover. And a lot of people say don't judge a book by its cover, but when it comes to books, I love seeing a book that pulls me in. And don't let me open the middle of the book and start reading. Because if I'm really pulled in, it's over. Let's just take it to the counter. So I'm really excited to see what you continue to do. Again, thank you so much for speaking with us. And to end it up and to wrap it up, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone who may either be in your industry or who may just want to start their own literary journey? Is there any advice you would have from one book lover to another? I love that. I mean, no shade to the authors. You guys are just so deep. Like, I don't know what it is with people in the literature world. You guys are just like, and it just rolls off the tongue. Like, it's just so, like, I love it. Like, literally write your own story, both, metaphorically and
Like
and literary.
if like someone had said to me like 10 years, like 15 years ago, audience. You know, I would be published with stories featuring Jewish characters, whether they're playing hockey or whether they're organizing parties. Like, I would have said, "Are you kidding me? Like, no, like that's not possible. Like, what is this nonsense that you're spewing? You know." But like, that's what happened, and like, I'm so happy to be able to do it. You know, it's literally nothing ever goes the way expected to, and I think like you have to really enjoy you have to enjoy the journey. Like, do what you can and have fun, but like know that like nothing ever goes as you expect it to.
Love that. And that's sound advice, especially honestly, I feel like you're speaking to me right now as far as like don't overextend yourself within planning. Things are gonna happen, but also in the same breath, like invite that to happen because you never know what path it'll put you on. And just hearing you say that from the beginning of our podcast, just saying like, "Hey, I worked at a bookstore. I was in eighth and ninth grade writing at camp when I could have been acting, being physical as a kid, but I really wanted to write." And it's just like I know that little girl inside of you is smiling so proud and she's so happy of who you become. And it's just so amazing that you get to hold that little girl's hand in life and say, like, look what we accomplished, look what we done, we've chased our dreams. So again, I'm not trying to get emotional because you know I will.
You do, I will, and
But
there
no,
will, and
it's just
I'm
so
not wearing the waterproof mascara today, so like,
glasses will get so like foggy, but
yeah.
it's just so amazing. And Stacey, please just keep pushing for all the girls out there. Like, I mean, we need that. We love to see it. One, but more importantly, it pushes us to fight and chase our dreams. So please keep being a light to all of us. Keep being a light to the literary world and bring a light to those. Like, I love how you said, like, my demographic is specific, not specifically, but we reach those within the Jewish community as well. Please, those are voices that need to be heard. Those are voices that are sometimes they fall upon deaf ears. So to see that marginalized group being represented and being put in books, that's very important. And I know you're doing it for the young Jewish girl who you were, but also the young girl who may not see herself in a book or may not know that she can get the love that Bella from Twilight could get, So I just love that. And it's important work. And please keep doing what you're doing. We support you in the community. We're clapping for you, sis. And, don't cry. And you're just a queen. I'm so excited. And please give me more information. I'm gonna definitely send you a message, but I would love to attend and stop by and clap for you on the 14th and 15th. But I'm gonna get that info because I definitely would love to be there in attendance. But again, Stacey, thank you so much. We love you here on the Chantizzy Podcast, and we definitely want to have you back. So we appreciate you speaking with us.